Hello, my beautiful weebs.
I'm a weeaboo.
I'm gothjon and I'm kinda sick. That's okay. Welcome, kiddos. It's gothjon, back from the abyss. Put that away. There's more time for that later. We gotta start shelling for those Chinese girl cartoons. Come on and follow me back into my basement. So let's talk about what I've been watching, because that's kind of what I like to do at the start of the show. So I've been watching Mushoku Tensei, and I won't apologize for saying it like that. It's just more fun. So like always, I only find out new anime in a couple different ways. So either they have a really cool manga, like the Chainsaw Man, that I heard was really good, and I don't typically read manga, so it's word of mouth type of deal. It's the anime community will suggest it, and I'm like, oh, they call me san. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. Now I check it out, and, I might find one of my favorite new shows. And the anime might be amazing that way, which is cool. Another way would be all about the memes. So if you get a really funny meme, there's a good chance I might become curious. Like, for instance, Mushoku Tensei, I saw one of those Opie memes, a little baby, getting a little thirsty. I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. And then another one of the ways I might find out about cool new anime is the first season was good. So if I really enjoyed the first season, I might want to check out the second season. And sometimes the next season sucks. Like third season Index, I couldn't make it all the way through. And the older I get, the more likely I am to drop something and not, give it time to, get going and, get interesting and want to actually watch the rest of the show. Which sucks because, Index is, in my opinion, I don't think it's as good as Railgun, but then again, there's not a lot of characters that care about Index other than Index and MC. So another way that sometimes I find out about new shows is I watch a lot of YouTube, like any millennial, and when one of my favorite AniTubers like Giguk or maybe even the Anime Man, if he's done doing a J-vlog and actually review some anime, they might tell me about a new show that's out or make a joke about it or something, and I might want to check it out. Now, that's why I gave Domestic Girlfriend a try, even though it's not really a genre I'd be into, but it has a banger of an opening, so that's really the only part of that I can recommend, because it's kind of creepy. Coming back to Mushoku Tensei, or as I like to say, Mushoku Tensei. So I kind of got curious with the memes, and Giguk made a joke about it in a video. I was like, okay, let's check this shit out. So Mushoku Tensei, or the English is something like My Jobless Reincarnation, which makes sense. And no, I'm not going to say it not weird. Mushoku Tensei. So it's a typical isekai anime with a twist. A 40-something-year-old NEET, which is, I think it's like needs education, no job training, that type of stuff. They just hang out in usually like a rental dwelling, and their parents pay for it somehow. You guys should teach me how I can get my mom to do that for me. That would be nice. And I could just watch anime all day, and and do all those unsavory things and close doors. So he isekais from his 40-something-year-old body into a body of a baby. And he has, like, full control of his mind, even as a baby, which is kind of weird. Like, he, learns their language and stuff like that, which is, it's kind of a new twist for isekai. You typically don't see that. And he, grows up as a kid, as a 40-year-old in this kid's body, so it's a lot of, problematic stuff that comes along with that. Bro, he's even thirsty as a baby. When he was born, he's looking at all those titties, and he's just, licking his lips and giving him crazy eyes, and even the maid's like, what the fuck's wrong with this kid? So it might bother some people, but it doesn't really bother me because I'm what I would call a veteran anime watcher. This is just Twitter bait. If anything, it's another one of those shows like Goblin Slayer, or even worse, Redo the Healer. What the fuck? I couldn't even finish that shit. So coming back to Mushoku Tensei. So another problem with the show is, in typical isekai fashion, the MC develops a harem, which is, a bunch of cute girls that are all potential love interests. Which, with this show, it makes it really fucking weird, because my man's a 40-year-old NEET. So what do you think a 40-year-old NEET's gonna do? he's gonna start fucking, like, imprinting on them and trying to make them, like him. Like, he's gonna start, put in this problematic term grooming, which, it's a lot different than what typical grooming is. It's just some creepy guy that has power over some girl that's, naive. So our MC, he has a cute girl, redhead. She's a little tsundere, which I have a soft spot for. You're kind of a cunt on the outside, and you're actually a really nice person on the inside, and I like that. Asuka from Neon Genesis Evangelion is the patriarchal archetype or matriarch rather, I guess, for the tsundere cast. It's the mold that every character is copy-pasted from, that type of archetype, at least in my opinion. And then you get some other characters into his harem, so far at least. I'm caught up in the second season, which is kind of neat. So, he's a preteen. He's like, I think he's like 11, he's like 10, 11, 12, something like that, and he's starting to build up his harem, this little pimp. So, he gets another girl, his teacher, because he's teaching himself to become a mage in this world. Magic works. And it's this lolly mage, and you're like, oh, okay, well, she's got cool design. And then you find out, like, she's a lot older than she looks, and you're like, oh, okay. And then there's a green elf chick, which, she's cute. It's one of his childhood friends. And then, like, some, shit happens, and he, teaches her to, stick up for herself. And, that's actually kind of good character growth, which is kind of cool, because he's a fucking NEET, so he's just imagining himself being a fat, naked fucking NEET, and all the kids are laughing at him, and, he's seeing cell phones in this fantasy world where they're not there, because he has so much fucking shit. He has so much trauma from being a NEET. You don't become a NEET out of nowhere. You kind of get bullied into it, and kind of convince yourself that, you're good for nothing. So this show is so freaking good that I marathoned all of it in 2 or 3 days. The whole first season, just knocked it out. I got it caught up in the second season. And might be an episode or two behind right now, but show's really good. MC's, he's a NEET. He has a bunch of flaws, but at least he's not like Kirito. And because he's a child, he's training, and he's putting in his gumption, and doesn't, he has some inherent talent, but he's kind of cultivating that. And, he hasn't started dual wielding swords, so that's good. Another show that I've been trying to regularly watch is Yashahime, Princess Half Demon. And this is the second half, so it's called the second act of the Yashahime anime, which is the Boruto treatment. I'm sure I've talked about it before. I grew up on Inuyasha in my teens, and this show, the plot kind of sucks, but I'm only in for it for the characters. I think this plot might even be more confusing than Boruto, and Boruto doesn't make any sense. So yeah, Moroha, Japanese names. Yeah, I'm American. What do you expect? Inuyasha and Kagome's daughter. She's known as Moroha, the monster killer, or the demon slayer, or whatever. And that sounds badass. She puts on her ruby red lipstick and goes full demon and fucks shit up. Now, that's my favorite parts of Inuyasha, being an edgelord teenager. Show gets really good. Any time you see previous characters, you're like, oh, Jockin shows up, and Lord Fluffy himself. So there's two other characters. There's Shomuru's daughters, and they show up, and they're part of the main cast and become friends with Moroha. And so Shomuru is just a bad dad, but his dad kind of sucked too. So what do you expect? And I really want Moroha to meet her parents really bad. She sees them for a second in this season, which that's kind of cool. They're in some alternative plane or some shit. Another show that I'm watching is Komi Can't Communicate. Holy shit! If you're caught up in the anime, and you're not, or if you're not, you should get caught up. This shit's good. This is Chef's Kiss. They just aired the beach episode. So in typical anime, you'll have an episode where they go to the beach. Sometimes you get something like Bleach, where it becomes a monster of the day, which is kind of funny. This beach episode, they go to like a water park or something like that, and the characters are, you know, in full swing. Komi-san's being, you know, adorable, and she actually like says some words this episode, and you're like, ah! It's just so cute and wholesome, and I would definitely recommend it. I don't remember if I told you guys, but I finished Kobayashi season 2. I love the ending of the season, as gay dragon love has never been so good. You know, they had like a cute like wedding scene. It's adorable. If you like slice of life comedies, I recommend Dragon Maid. It's just don't watch the dub. At least the first season, where Funimation decided they want to take down the patriarchy. You know, they had like a line of like this like big Jahoob dragon lady saying, "Yeah, I changed my clothes because fuck the male patriarchy" or some shit. And you're like, what the fuck? That's not what they said. That was a bad translation. Apologize for my stuffed nose. So I just finished the Cowboy Bebop because live action was coming out, and I was like, oh well, it's probably a bad idea because I'm going to be comparing it to it when I try to watch a live action, which I have tried to watch the first episode. I don't think I'm going to be finishing it. It's kind of upsetting. It's not the live action's bad. Don't even go near it. It's on Netflix. Don't even go near it. So I rewatched the anime. It still holds up. I even watched the movie, which was really good. And you know, I was like, oh, that's where they get the headphone shit. And okay, and all right, it still holds up. It's friggin' like 20 years old or something like that. It came out in the 90s, which is kind of amazing. You know, it's even stuck in a 4:3 aspect ratio, which, you know, I have 1080p and 4K monitors, which, you know, I kind of got annoyed at first, but then you kind of get used to it. It's not that big a deal. I'm not going to pan and scan or do anything like that because I don't want to cut any of the video off. So, the music, even if it was allegedly stolen from, like, jazz composers and musicians, Yoko Kanno, you know, still busting out the music. She did the music for live action, which might be the only saving grace. My favorite episode of Cowboy Bebop is Session 24, Hard Luck Woman. Spoiler alert for Hard Luck Woman and Cowboy Bebop. So they go to Mars, but they end up making a pit stop on Earth. Faye, one of the main characters, finds out about her past, which she's been like cryogenically frozen, and she's actually like 50 years older than she looks, which is kind of neat. Which is something that I fucked up in the live action. They took out all that. So we find out, like, Ezra's raised at this orphanage. Faye finds out about her past from, like, a video. Ed tags along with Faye. They go on the planet, try to find out about her past. Ed finds her father, which her father's kind of a jackass. He's very neglectful. He's a bad dad. But, you know, he still loves her, even if he's a shitty father. You know, this shit still holds up after all these years. It's still a good show. You know, compared to all these other shows that I've watched, you know, it's still a good show. You know, all these Adult Swim anime that, you know, aired in the 2000s were just good, wholesome shows. So go watch the dub. Definitely stay away from the live action. Watch the anime. The shit's anime royalty. You should watch it. So, when we talk about Ed from Cowboy Bebop, some people thought Ed was a boy, and multiple times in the anime and in the movie, she's revealed to be a girl. Whether or not she's born a girl, who knows, and frankly, who gives a shit? Which leads us into our topic. So, I've thought about this subject for a while. There's a bunch of anime where this type of character is a part of the cast. So, one of the first few times that I heard about third gender or non-binary or anything like that is in a show called Baka Test or Bakan Test, or however you want to say it. There's a character called Hideyoshi, which is born a man, and they don't really define their gender, which cool. He's very kind and lovable. He looks like his sister, so everyone kind of like exactly like copy paste. Like, later he's given a separate locker in a bathroom dubbed third gender, which, Hideyoshi gender, go for it. Another one is Ruka from Steins Gate, which this character is born a man, identifies as female, and, she's cute and super loyal to her friends, which I like it when, if they're going to do this type of deal, at least make the character not a budding joke. And currently airing Komi-san, or Komi Can't Communicate, we have Najimi. Najimi, who's born a male, flirts with whatever clothing they want to wear is cool, which the freaking character has, like, the male uniform on the top half of their body and wears a skirt, which, cool. Girls have, better clothing, in my opinion, and more customizable. Not that I identify as non-binary or third gender or anything like that. I would describe myself as a cis white male, which, whatever. So, coming back to Komi-san, it's a good show. Najimi is the complete antithesis of what Komi is. So Komi can't communicate. Najimi can communicate very well. Through, like, phenomenal communication ability, they can get close to anyone within a few minutes of meeting them, so their ongoing joke of the show is, they're all my childhood friends, everybody is. And then you just see this, like, pile of people. And then with all these different types of characters, you get a lot to pick and choose from. And that's coming to another type deal. Japan gets super uncomfortable when it comes to anything really LGBT, LMNOP subjects, mostly because their culture is a lot different than Western culture. We're, pro-freedom, whatever. Like, I'm sure they are too, but they're a little bit more conservative and try to be, business-oriented, and I'm sure they feel like that has no place in the business world. So, now with newer anime, we're going to see more and more of this stuff, which is fine. Just try to do it right. I like characters that are well written, and if they're like in on the joke, like in Baka Test, Hideyoshi's in on the joke. Hideyoshi doesn't give a shit. So we're going to come to recommendations. Some shows that I talked about today. Baka and Test, or whatever pronunciation you want to use. It's shortened to Baka Test. It's a good slice of life show, good characters, good comedy. Check it out. Another show I'd like to recommend is Steins Gate. The show's really good. In fact, it's number 4 on Mal as of this date, which is my anime list. Anime, list making website. So, time travel is kind of hard to do in a narrative sense. Steins Gate does time travel stories very well. Check out the show. It's got good characters, got some amazing English in the sub. I'll watch the dub, but, go watch the sub, like, on YouTube for I'm a mad scientist. That shit's funny. I always love English in, J-pop, J-rock. I love English. It's like they're saying it for me, so wider appeal. And, so, kiddos, it's that time of the podcast again. It's time to go to bed, or, time to have a 15-hour gaming session. It's time to go hide in the basement, play some video games, and watch a ton of anime. Till next time.